Hey guys, it's Aria from MMOs.com doing a quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending October 23rd, 2017. This is episode number 118 of the recap, and the first bit of news this week, and probably the most exciting news of the week, is that Bless is finally launching here in the West and will be available through Steam sometime in 2018. After the Russian version got shut down and the South Korean one merged down servers, things are looking pretty grim for Bless, but it looks like NeoWiz isn't giving up on the game just yet. The game's Steam store page is already live. The one thing I hope they fix before the game launches here in the West, though, is the serious optimization problems it had. I remember enjoying the game quite a bit, but my FPS would always drop over time and quickly become unplayable. So if they can fix that, I think the game has a real shot. Bit excited for this one, but it's still a ways away. Here's hoping it's early 2018 rather than the second half, but I'm sure we'll learn more sometime in 2018. Next up, a bit of exciting news from Bluehole, developers behind Terra and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. The company will be revealing details of their mysterious Project W at G-Star 2017, which begins on November 16th. All we know about Project W is that it's a PC MMORPG that was first announced back in November 2016. And interestingly, neither Bluehole nor InMass will be publishing the game in North America or Europe. Instead, Kakao Games will be the game's Western publisher. Also worth mentioning is that the game is not a Terra sequel, and will be built on Unreal Engine 3, which is a bit odd because Unreal Engine 4 has been out for some time already. But we'll learn a lot more about Project W after G-Star finishes, and yeah, all we have is one screenshot in the background, so sorry about the lack of gameplay footage, there's nothing out there just yet. Up next, Tran Worlds announced the next expansion to Trove called Adventures, which is launching on November 14th for Xbox One, PS4, and PC simultaneously. Adventures will allow players to level up their clubs, as well as introduce a new tutorial, a new biome, a new mining resource, and much more. Trove's an interesting game and one well worth checking out in my opinion. It's still pretty popular and has been averaging about 3,700 or so players online at any given time on Steam, which is actually quite great, so the game is still alive and well. Next up, Albion Online revamps its Invite a Friend program, which by itself isn't really big news, but it seems to be a response to a steadily declining player base. Players can now purchase 7-day free trial keys in-game with gold and send them to their friends to try the game out, which is a bit odd because these trial keys have to be purchased with premium currency. Personally, I think they should just have a free 7-day trial for everyone, which would make a lot more sense and bring a lot more players. But anyways, this is a response to a steadily declining player base, it seems, as the game had about 134,000 players gain fame during its launch week, and the number now is down to about 42,600, which while isn't a perfect proxy for player base, it's still a pretty good one because pretty much anything you do in game results in fame gain. So the number of players gaining fame each week is a pretty good proxy for the game's player base. Albion Online is definitely one of the more unique MMORPG launches of 2017, so I'm hoping the game can turn things around. Still, it's not so bad because there's only one mega server for the game and it still feels quite active. I still think it just made more sense to make a free trial for everyone, but who knows. Up next, Blade & Soul's previously announced Age of the Hive Queen update is live, which introduces the Temple of Iluvrium, where players can challenge the Hive Queen. The update also includes new Fallen Around the School quests, alternative upgrade paths for weapons and accessories, new ways to obtain and upgrade gems, reduced costs for Hong Moon's secret techniques, and much more. It's a big update to the game, and it just went live this last week. Next up, that mobile Game of Thrones strategy MMO officially launched this last week, and you can see the official launch trailer in the background. And as you probably guessed, it's just another Game of War style pay-to-win mobile strategy game, and what I find hilarious is that they show practically zero gameplay in the official trailer. Instead, it just focuses on CGI. The crazy part about this game is that I bet it's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars, while other real games don't do nearly as well. But yeah, if you like mobile strategy games, you can give this one a try. It's definitely a pass for me though, but because it's Game of Thrones, I'm sure the production value will be pretty good. Up next, Life is Feudal MMO is set to begin its open beta testing on November 17th. If you haven't heard of this one, it's a medieval sandbox MMO similar to Rust and games like Rust, except with a mega server that supports 10,000 plus players and a persistent world. The concept actually sounds really cool, as unlike Rust, it won't be resetting every other week, and is expected to be running for years at a time with players creating their own drama/history in game. This one's a buy-to-play one though, and even though it's open beta, players will need to buy the game to try it. The base game costs about $30, and players can spend up to $100 to buy the biggest Founders Pack. I'm excited for this one because the concept is awesome, but pulling it off well is going to be challenging for them, but we'll have to wait and see how it turns out. Next up, a small update for Dauntless launched this last week, which adds dodge attacks for hammers and chain blades, as well as introduces 5 new weapon models, a new cool shot armor set, and some balance changes. And you can see Dauntless make some progress as the concept of a free-to-play PC Monster Hunter style game is pretty neat. Plus, the core combat is actually pretty fun in this one. My only real complaint with Dauntless was that it quickly starts to feel repetitive, but perhaps they'll polish things up a bit by the time it actually launches. This one is buy-to-play during alpha as well, but will be free-to-play at launch. Up next, another interesting development in the esports scene. The Cleveland Cavaliers joins the League of Legends NA LCS for 2018. So you have yet another real sports team, this time the Cavaliers, which are a professional basketball team in the NBA taking esports pretty seriously. The actual Cavaliers brand name cannot be used in League of Legends though because of NBA regulations, but they did pay the $13 million franchise fee to get into the LCS. A full lineup of the NA LCS should be revealed sometime next month, but it's still pretty crazy that so many real-world sports teams are taking League of Legends esports so seriously. I'm curious curious who else will be on that list next month. And speaking of esports news, the CrossFire Stars 2017 esports tournament officially released their grand final scheduling, which is set to run from November 30th to December 3rd in China. And this isn't really relevant news to most of us, but it's worth mentioning because CrossFire is actually much more popular than you think. According to the game's Korean developer Smilegate, CrossFire gets over 8 million concurrent players and has over 650 million registered users worldwide. I mean, to put that 8 million number into context, PUBG peaks out at about 2.3 million, which makes CrossFire about like 4 times bigger, which is the biggest game on Steam as well. In fact, everyone playing a game on Steam only peaks out at about 5.5 million. So more people are playing CrossFire right now than everyone playing any game on Steam. And this is largely due to the game's huge popularity in China. So it's not that big news here in the West, but it's still a pretty crazy statistic. Moving right along, we have yet another free-to-play PC game launched on consoles. This time it's Hex Shards of Fate, which launched on PS4 in North America this last week as Hex CardClash. The PS4 version of the game has been redesigned for consoles and comes with numerous UI upgrades and a better tutorial system, but most importantly features full cross-platform compatibility with PC. The PC version of the game hasn't been doing so well lately and it's only been averaging about 117 or so players online at any given time, so I imagine the PS4 launch was done out of necessity to try and grab more users. Next up, Hyper Universe just completed a free-to-play weekend and granted anyone who reached level 7 permanent access to the game's early access. I suspect Nexon ran this free weekend out of necessity because Hyper Universe is only getting about 8 to 10 players online at any given time on Steam, and that's not nearly enough for a MOBA or any game really. During the free weekend though, the game's player base jumped up to about 75 to 100, which still isn't great, but at least enough players are in the game to find matches. I honestly don't know what Nexon is thinking by making Hyper Universe buy to play in alpha. Just make the game free to play already, otherwise the game's going to die before it even launches. It's silly that the game costs money in early access, and it will be free when it launches. Make it free right away. Speaking of Nexon, Vindictus is set to merge its US East, US West, and Australian servers into one massive North American server. This is set to go down sometime in November, and to be honest, I think the merges are actually a good move, as it'll make the combined North American server feel much more lively. The game's current player base numbers on Steam aren't doing great either. It's averaging about 300 or so users online at a given time on Steam, but I'm sure there's a decent chunk of players playing off Steam as well. Hopefully these mergers should make things feel a bit more lively though. Up next, Joy City launched yet another freestyle game. This time it's 3-on-3 freestyle, and it's almost exactly like Freestyle 2 Street Basketball, except this one is built on Unreal Engine 4 and features a different art style. 3-on-3 freestyle seems to be a port of the console game 3-on-3 freestyle, as the menu controls do feel a bit awkward on PC. Still, the core gameplay here is pretty fun, but I question why this game was even needed because it's only going to fragment the freestyle player base between Freestyle 2 and 3-on-3 freestyle. But a bit of a weird move for sure, but the core game is definitely pretty fun. Next up, Legends of Aria, formerly known as Shards Online, just finished its final alpha test and will now be spending some time polishing the game up and adding more content. During the 2.5-week alpha, 2,500 players logged in and tried the game out, which isn't exactly huge numbers, but for a smaller studio like Citadel Games, it ain't bad either. The next phase of testing is beta, but Citadel has stated that they'll be taking as much time as needed to polish the game up and get it ready for beta. So Legends of Aria may not be playable for some time going forward. Next up, Metro Conflict is relaunching as Metro Conflict The Origin on October 27th from Red Duck, makers of Alliance of Valiant Arms. This game was available through OG Planet for a short while, but it shut down pretty quickly. It's coming back again on October 27th on Steam. Third closed beta actually, with the full launch I believe coming in November. If you never played this one, it's basically just another tactical lobby-based Korean shooter. However, it's not bad. The next and last bit of news this week comes from Bungie regarding Destiny 2. The game's PC launch is set for tomorrow, and players can start preloading the game already on Blizzard's Battle.net launcher. The game's console player base has already declined significantly, falling from about 3.5 million players last month down to about 1.5 million per day today. But I suspect the PC launch should reinvigorate the game, and it's still a big launch and probably one of the biggest launches of 2017, so you can start playing Destiny 2 tomorrow if you're so interested. Anyway guys, that's it for MMO News this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later guys.